Hello! Welcome to episode 2 of the Woolly Bee podcast. Today is September 26th, 2016. My name is Sarah, my username on Ravelry is MacAttack, and my username on Instagram is Mac08Attack. Thank you guys for coming back for week 2. I did this a second time. I was all excited to do it again like the next day, and then I was like, I've literally nothing to show. But here we are. We're round 2. I've hopefully not going to make too many mistakes. I've sort of started to figure out this technical glitch, but there's probably going to be multiple pieces that are spliced together again like last week. But let's kind of dive into it. So I'm going to give a quick week in review. This past week was a busy one. I had a lot of work for school. We're into that point in the semester where the first couple weeks you're like, I got this. This is cool. We can do this. And then all of a sudden the work appears out of thin air. So there was a lot of like, oh my god, I'm drowning. But we're powering through. This week is going to be a lot like last week. So this is a study break right now. But we're pushing through. We'll make it. Next week will be a little lighter, which is good. I realized last week I never went into why I'm doing this and what my expectations for this podcast are. I don't know why I'm doing this, to be honest. I've watched podcasts now on and off for probably almost 5 years. And I've always enjoyed them. And I think at one point I was like, why would I ever do that? That seems silly. Usually things that I say that about are things I end up doing. I've learned to never say never, because as soon as I say never, I go and do it. So I think this was just a way for me to continue on with keeping the knitting community in my life, now, especially now that I'm not working at a yarn shop all the time. It's a way to kind of make my own community, even if we're all virtual, which I get sounds kind of sappy, but it's at the same time kind of true. But yeah, so we're just trying it. I like to just share what I'm working on. I like to see what other people are working on. I've realized over the years I've gotten a lot of inspiration directly or indirectly from the podcast I'm watching. I used to be a really big fan of the Knitting in Circles podcast, Amy and Darren, before they stopped podcasting. And I realized I had picked up my beekeeper's quilt after a while of not knitting on it. And I realized it was because I was watching them make barn raising squares, which all of these are just leftover modular blanket project things of crazy. Side note, I have not touched my beekeeper's quilt in over a year. It's not going to be a quilt. It's going to be like a seat cushion. I don't know. We'll talk about it someday when I pick it up again. Or if you have questions, feel free to ask. As for expectations for this podcast, I have none. I would love to be able to give away prizes at some point in the future. Right now is not that time. But hopefully as we progress, those will happen. Because podcasts are way more fun with prizes and giveaways. I do expect to host knit-alongs at some point. Again, no idea if there'll be prizes. I could probably swing some, at least in the pattern form, for those. But I do have one in mind. I'm sort of ripping it off of the Knit Girls. But I sort of have one in mind come November. So more details on that when we get closer. But I anticipate hosting some knit-alongs from time to time. Generally pretty flexible. I don't usually like knit-alongs that are you must knit this pattern or you must knit this yarn, but I like options that fit within a set of structured rules. But again, we'll talk about that when that gets closer, so hopefully you guys are interested in that and want to participate. But yeah, I just want to kind of create a community where we can all chat about what we're working on, because really that's all I'm doing here. Sorry, my show notes are on an index card, because that's everybody writes show notes on an index card, right? It's better than last week when I had no show notes. So let's go into what I've been working on for this week. First off, let me show you my Liliana shawl from last week that is blocking. It has been fairly humid here the past couple days. It's been very gray. So I've not seen sunlight in the past couple days, which is fine. I do like a really good cloudy day from time to time, and we hadn't had some in a while, so we were due for it. But with that came some showers and some humidity. So it's cool enough that it's not a problem, but it's also means that shawls are not going to dry when you forget to block them until the night before you're recording. Whoops. So I'm going to actually take you over there to where it is blocking on the floor. I don't get motion sickness when people do this, but if you do, like, close your eyes for 10 seconds or something. I also realized I never moved a bag of something, so we'll kind of do this all at once. So let's go. I am blocking on the floor because I have carpet now, which at home I do not have carpet. But sorry guys, it's not working. Maybe not. That's my odd Abercrombie bag from high school. There we start to go. There's my sock. This is not working. I'm sorry. So it's blocking. This is not the best way to do this, but we tried. It's blocking. It's really pretty. It's become big enough. I was really concerned when I finished it that it was not going to be big enough, like the picture. So I can show you better pictures next week when it's actually dry. I know I promised them for this week, but it didn't happen. And if you got motion sickness, I'm sorry. We won't do that again. At least until I get that motion figured out. But it's really pretty. I do actually have on my phone, it never made it to Instagram yesterday, but a picture of the lace up close. Because it really, the magic of lace blocking just never fails to amaze. So here's what it looks like when it's not all upside down. So it blocked itself out really beautifully. I'm really pleased with it. Next up are my brother's skew socks. So I'm going to break like the cardinal rule of podcasting, which is have something to show. I don't have anything to show. Literally. So you're like, oh, she totally finished the socks. I mailed them off. All is well. That's hilarious. So last week I finished the foot of sock number 1 that I showed you, and I finished the heel, and I got to about this part, just a little past the heel on the sock, and I measured it from tip to toe, or from toe to heel, and it was about a ½ inch longer than his foot measurement, and I panicked. And it kind of came down to maybe that ½ inch will go away when he puts the sock on and it stretches for width, because that happens, or it's just straight up too big. And I don't want to knit a leg and a second sock and give them to him and then find out they don't fit. So on Friday, I went to the post office and mailed it to him. Ball of yarn attached and all. So I put the sock on waste yarn and we sent it off. So it should hopefully arrive today. He is down in Blacksburg, Virginia, so he's about a couple hours away. He is a student at Tech. He's a freshman at Tech. It makes me very, very sad. My little UVA heart cries. But it's a good school for him. So he should have it today. It should be back in the mail again on Wednesday. He said he passes the post office. I should have it by the end of the week. In the meantime, I at some point plan on starting sock number 2 since I kept the needles and I have the second ball of yarn. And so I can at least get that to the point of the heel and then make modifications based on what he says. But here is a picture of the sock on my foot, which, as I said, is much smaller than his. So you can kind of see how ginormous it is. And it, I don't know, it looks kind of like an elf shoe if the toe curled up a little bit more. So that's what it looks like. It does look super cool. So hopefully, I'm hoping to God this fits. But at least we'll find out. So that's all I have for knitting. Why I didn't end up casting the second one on immediately is, ooh, let's go check our phone on the floor. As I was hoping was that the second clue of the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery National Parks Birthday Club came out on Friday. And I wanted to stitch again. So I began that. I actually finished clue 1 and then began clue 2. So let's actually not put our needle minder over the stitching. So, oh, I don't have a notebook in front of me, guys. I'm sorry. Here is the bottom. Yeah, let me grab a notebook. I'm sorry. Last week I had left all my homework here, but not this week. Okay, notebook. So here is what I've gotten done. There we go. So you can see that I finished the bottom border that says Centennial, and it has, let's see, some snowflakes and some fall leaves. And then I began on the parks. So parks 1, and this area will be part 2, came out in this next clue. And so I've been busily stitching away on that. So park 1 is Yellowstone, and park 2 is Volcanoes National Park, not yet begun. So here's what, up close, what I have done. I have the world's cutest little bison who does not have an eye or hooves yet, but that's okay. That other thing is the park ranger, and the thing in between the park ranger and the bison are the beginnings of Old Faithful and the Yellowstone River. So I'm working on the yellow right now. I have a little bit more of that to go, as well as her hat, and then I will kind of finish in with the white for the clouds, for Old Faithful, all that good stuff, and then I'm going to begin on park number 2, which is Volcanoes National Park. What I really love with these 2 clues is that I've actually been to both of these parks. I did Yellowstone this past summer with my family, and 10 years to the day before that we did Volcanoes National Park in Hawaii. So I think it's kind of fun that these are the 2 parks that they put next to each other, and that the timing was that good. So my dad and I unofficially decided that June of 2026, it's terrifying, will be Iceland, because we got to keep the volcano theme going. Because yes, if you don't know, Yellowstone is a giant volcano. Giant. But that is how my National Parks Birthday Club is coming along. I am thoroughly enjoying it. Got my stitching mojo back. So I'm just going to ride that wave until that wave is done. And then I do need to still start my trick-or-treat costume club from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. The entire pattern is now out. The second half of that came out last Friday as well. Super stinking cute. So I need to get that started as well. So I'm hoping I can get this done, still have mojo, and work on that. So that is where I am with that. Spinning. I have spinning for the week, so let's jump into that. So I realized last week I never got to tell you guys about spinning. I own quite a few spindles. More than any one human probably needs. I don't spin that much, but I own a fair amount of fiber and a fair amount of spindles, partially because they're pretty. But it's something I do from time to time, and I mean to do more often than I do. So this is going to start to jump into New Shiny Pretty, which is my current working name for stash enhancement. But I am currently spinning on a brand new Spanish Peacock Pocket Tibetan spindle that I picked up this weekend at Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival. I'm spinning on it some super fine merino. It's like 19.5 microns. It's amazing. That I also got, well, I'm just dropping everything today. I'm not taking this out of the bag, so it'll be too crinkly, but I got, it's like 69 grams. It should have been about 2 ounces, but it's probably closer, let's see, it's probably closer to like 2.5, because an ounce is 28 grams. Also, if you can hear that child outside, my door is open, and I do live with, like, near other people, so, sorry. But I picked this up from the Fiberists. It is, I stuck my hand in and was like, and I will take some of that. So I am spinning this up on here. I'm spinning it from the fold, because I think that works a little bit better with supported spindling. I'm a terrible supported spindler, which is why I've decided that I'm going to work on this 15 minutes a day until it's done. I also never finish spinning projects, but I've also, here's the bowl. I'm currently using a lovely little Pyrex ice cream bowl. I've only ever used these for ice cream, so I don't know what they're actually called. I do have real supported spindling bowls at home. Home is not here, so this has actually been working quite well. Though it's a little deeper because the whirl can hit it, but it spins beautifully. I'm improving my technique and my speed and my consistency, so we're just having a good time. with it. But it's currently sitting next to my couch, so I can work on it, you know, a little bit every day. But for the woods for this spindle, the colors are just not accurate. But the whorl is boxwood, and you can kind of see there's some really pretty coloring in it. And the grain is really subtle. It's beautiful. And the shaft, let's see, doesn't do it justice, is lacewood. So she's a beauty. I do actually name my spindles, which is kind of weird. I don't name anything else besides pets. Presumably people. If I had a tiny human, I would name it. But I do name my spindles. I think I saw it on Ravelry years ago. I was like, I'll go and name my spindles too. So this one is going to be named Graham. And that is because, Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival is located in Berryville, Virginia. About 6 miles away from that is Blandy Experimental Farm and the State Arboretum of Virginia, and that is where I did my bumblebee research when I was an undergrad. And at Blandy, there is a giant boxwood garden of, like, every boxwood species ever, something crazy like that. That spindle has boxwood whorl, so I was like, it's bought in Berryville, close to Blandy, all of these super connections, whatever. I didn't like the name Blandy for it, but the man that Blandy is named after is Graham Blandy, and I was like, Graham? I would never name a person Graham, but I'll name Spindle Graham. So we're going with it. So I've been enjoying it so far. We'll see. Hopefully I'll finish it. Time will tell. But let's go into Shenandoah and new shiny pretty. So I did make it to Shenandoah this past weekend. I went up on Saturday. I drove through a lot of nowhere, Virginia to get there, but it was very pretty nowhere, Virginia. I did not get lost, which was also good. But I had a good time. So I have never been to a fiber festival alone. So that was definitely an adjustment. I am not somebody who needs to do things with other people. And I'm not somebody that will not do something I want to do because nobody will do it with me. I'm going to do it. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. So normally I do fiber festivals actually with my mom. Not because she knits, but because, I don't know. And she was out of town this past weekend, so she couldn't come, which was fine. So I went, didn't matter. And it was definitely different because of that. And I determined that I just really need a babysitter. Because I'm a GYP, gluttonous yarn pig. But I had a really good time, and I met up with Iris and her friend Erica. Iris is a customer and friend of mine from my days at the shop at Fiberspace, and so she was there with her friend Erica, who I got to meet. And it was really nice to hang out with them for a bit. We just chatted at the end. I was on my way out and saw her, and we just hung out. Got some cobbler from the Boy Scout tent, and they introduced me to a new yarn dyer when I thought I was done, but it was a very good, very, very good thing in the end. Though I needed more yarn, like I needed a hole in my head, beside the point. So it was a really good time. The weather was good. It was a little warm in the morning, but it cooled off as expected because the temperature was supposed to drop about 10 degrees from Saturday to Sunday, which it did. Oh. So it is not 80 degrees or 90 degrees right now. I am in pants and a sweater. It's a miracle. But I don't even know why I'm looking over here because I have nothing over here. Let's go into what I got. So yes, I am a GYP. That is my term for me because I have a problem. Oh well. We're just going to dive right in. Please do not judge me. I'm judging myself, so I don't need judgment from anybody else, frankly. But, so you saw my spindle. She was my first purchase. The first building I walked into, which was right by the parking lot, contained Spanish peacock, and that was the first booth I walked into, and didn't need it, but I wanted it. So after that, I'm just going to kind of show you how I have everything piled over here, and we'll go from there. So I went to Dancing Leaf Farm, and I picked up some yarn from her. These are all very me colors. So I got a skein of her Boogie Woogie, which is I think it's a chunky weight. And this is in the Carnival colorway, which green and pink and purple and yellow and blue, and it's very me. I don't usually knit with chunky, but this told me it wanted to be brioche of some kind, so it will. And then I also got 2 skeins of Sock Hop, which is a fingering weight superwash merino. So I got that also in the Carnival colorway because I was kind of obsessed with it, and on the Ziggy Stardust colorways. So no clue what they'll be. They're pretty. Next up, this is from a new to me dyer, Bitsy Knits. This is her Squeal, which is a heavy lace weight. It's an MCN, a merino cashmere nylon. So heavy lace weight, light fingering weight. Here's what it looks like. That's not color accurate. Let's see if we get closer. Nope. It's aqua teal, kind of. It is called The Case of the Nautical Knot. Imagine the ocean. That's what this looks like, but it feels so good. So that is from Bitsy Knits. And it's 575 yards. It was a really good deal. So I had to get some of that. Next up is some Nautilace from Dragonfly Fibers. This is really lovely. It is a 60% silk, 40% baby camel lace weight, 400 yards in each skein, and I picked up 2 skeins. This is Silver Fox, which is like a warm gray, and this is Red Bud, which is hot pink. Hot pink. I've been on such a pink kick the past handful of months, so I am unsure yet if these are going to go together in a project or if they're going to be separate. I'm leaning towards together, but I'm not sure. But it's a heavenly blend. It was a good price for what it was, and I really love it. We'll continue with so the yarn that I bought is either beautifully colored or has silks and cashmeres or camels or whatever in it, or it's straight off the sheep. So this is the last of the first category. So this was what Iris and Erica brought me to at the end that I had passed by before, didn't realize, and did not need, but I think they just got a customer for life. This is from Little Fox Yarns. I believe she's based out of Richmond, Virginia. I got her Vixen base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% silk. It's fingering weight. Again, these colors just aren't doing it. Part of it's because it's so gray out, and my lighting's not great. That green's pretty good. The green is called Spring Thaw, and the gray is called Whisker, and these will definitely be going together. I have a couple patterns in mind, so we'll see. But it's just, all of her colors were stunning. I had a really hard time deciding what I wanted, because I did really want all of it. So it's probably a good thing I found her at the end, because I probably would have bought all of it. So next up, I guess, will be all the fiber. I've been also on a real kick for natural undyed fibers lately, though I don't enjoy spinning them, but they're pretty. I got 4.5 ounces. It was more than I originally wanted, but it's fine. Of merino silk. Ooh, you can see the luster in that. It just feels like a dream. And this is from Bluefields Farm. They are located in Madison, Virginia. So, really pretty stuff. That will someday be spun into something beautiful. Possibly dyed after the fact. I don't know yet. As I showed you, I have the merino from the Fibrous that I'm spinning in my spindle. I also got from them a bag. Again, I'm not going to take this out, but let's see. You can sort of see the colors there off the reflection of the tablet. But it's like a slate blue with bits of green, kind of like a forest green running throughout. It's Specimen 351, and it is a 70% merino, 30% silk blend. It's nothing fancy, but it's real pretty. So I got some of this. 4 ounces. So I almost bought a bunny. He was really, really cute. I've wanted a bunny for quite some time, but I've also been realistic in the fact that I do not have money for a bunny. Though if I didn't buy so much yarn, I would. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that when you're in a lifestyle that I'm in right now. And when I do go home on breaks, I have cats at home who would either A, kill the bunny, or would be afraid of the bunny. Now, Angora rabbits are quite large. They can be roughly the size of a cat when you include all the fluff. Especially my cats, because they're not terribly huge. Well, Ben isn't. Lily's a pudge ball. And my cat tends to be afraid of stupid stuff. If you guys are familiar with pillow pets, the stuffed animal pillow things, I have one of those. It's a horse. My cat's deathly afraid of it. Hilarious. But he's afraid of it. It doesn't make any noise. It doesn't do anything. It's about the size he is. He's afraid of it. But I've also, when he has snuck outside, witnessed him try to catch a bunny. Bunny got away, thank God. But, you know, we're talking like little cottontails. It was like this big. It was a young bunny. Luckily, it saw him before he saw it. All ended well, but apparently he's had bunnies in his mouth before. Which not a good thing. So I did not, long story short, did not buy the bunny. I really, really thought about it, though. So I may look into it in the nearer future. I'd also love a cat. But, you know, we'll see. So instead of buying a bunny, I bought an ounce of Angora fluff. I've been looking for Angora fiber for, not hard, but for quite some time at festivals. And this particular, these particular people had some fluff available. So this was from Gatherings Rabbitry. They are located in Mount Sydney, Virginia. I'm not entirely certain where that is. But it's gray. I'm not going to open it up because it will floof, if that's a word. But they had lots of colors available. And it is the most amazing thing ever. So someday I'll spin this up. And then I'll also someday own a bunny. But it's really beautiful stuff, so I get to play with that. And then last couple things for fiber, I hit up Hobbledehoy, who I definitely enjoy their fiber. I got some batlings, which are like little mini bats. So this is in the Ice Princess colorway. Sorry for crinkle. So there's 6 or 7, I didn't count, little bats in here that some have the blue, as you can see, and some are just white. And the base is organic Polworth. And it also includes some bamboo, some silk, some sari silk, which are kind of like the little flecks of color. I don't know if you guys can see that. And some sparkle. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to spin these up yet. I do have some batlings I got from them at Maryland Sheep and Wool that I haven't touched for a couple months. So those will get finished before I really start much of anything else, aside from my supported spindling practice. But so these were really pretty. I love their little batlings. They're a lot of fun to spin. And I also got a braid of merino and silk 80/20 in the ink block colorway. So it's got some gray, some just undyed areas, hot pink, bright blue, some orange. There's better orange up here. So I think this will spin up really, really beautifully and be something kind of amazing. So that's that guy. And then my last round, because there's more. I told you I was a GYP. Are my other end of the spectrum, my undyed, raw, woolly things. So I got 2 skeins of Coopworth lace from Solitude Wool. Actually, let me spin that around. Solitude is located up in Northern Virginia, and they work with a variety of farms around the area. Doing breed-specific yarns. So the sheep that this yarn came from live out in the Plains, Virginia, which is west of where I grew up. Out past, it's sort of off 66 if you're familiar with that area at all. But it's just a beautiful, natural lace weight. So I think that'll be really, again, dropping all the things, be really pretty. And it was a good deal. It's 400 yards. Yeah, 400 yards in each skein. So I have 800 yards, $22. Can't really beat that. Alrighty, we're back. File size was reached, so pull that one off and start a new one. Where we left off was with the Rawsthorne. As you probably didn't see because I probably cut it out, they specialize in rare breeds of sheep. They have about a dozen, and they're located up in Pennsylvania. Sorry, that beep was my computer. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. But so I got some goodies from them. Their yarns are rustic, and they still have a lot of lanolin and grease in them. Even just as I was standing there squishing, I was like, my hands are nice and moisturized. But they carry a whole bunch of different weights, all natural colors, and they tell you what animal it came from, which is just kind of cool. So I got some of their goodies. I do have a skein I got from them last year. Hasn't figured out what it wants to be yet. Maybe it'll play with these guys, unknown. But some really beautiful stuff. And Amy and Scooter Pie, who run it, are just absolutely delightful. So if you're ever at a festival where they're at, definitely go check them out. But what I got up first is some Tunis Leicester Sport Weight, 250 yards each skein, and this is from Geneva. So here's the yarn, and here's Geneva. Isn't she the cutest? God, I just want to squish her. But I got 2 skeins of her, with her pretty picture. And so this will probably almost certainly be some kind of big squishy shawl. Then I got 1 skein of Shetland Sport Weight. This is from Marigold. And here is what it looks like. So this is a nice natural brown. And I got this because I never do brown. And there is Marigold. Isn't she cute? With her little brown face. The other skein that I have is also a Shetland, but it's a gray Shetland from Lilac, the sheep. So now I have a gray and a brown. So this will be some kind of cowl, I think. I think it'll just be kind of cute. And my last skein, I was not going to get them because I never knit with a super bulky. But I decided to splurge. I got some MAC. MAC is a silver Leicester long wool. So this is the size of my head. I could use this as a pillow. This is over a pound. I have not weighed it, but Amy was like, yeah, it's like a pound. It is stunning. It's a little itchier than I would like, but the reality is if I'm ever going to wear, it's going to be a shawl. If I'm ever going to wear a shawl that's super bulky, it's got to be real cold, and I'm probably already bundled up anyways. But here's MAC. Isn't he cute? I love him. So, MAC. And his parents call him Mac Attack. My Rav name, Mac Attack's gotta knit a shawl out of Mac Attack. So, I think it's really awesome that I can share this with a sheep. So this is destined to be Maya's shawl by Justina Lorkowska. I think that's what this is going to become, and it's going to be pretty epic. It's going to be more of a schlanket than a shawl, but I think it's going to be awesome. And they call this a bulky. I think this is a super bulky. It's beefy. But yep, Mac Attack's going to knit out of Mac Attack. So I'm very excited for that, and just how big this is. So those are all my yarny purchases. Ooh, sorry. Absolute last thing I got was some stuff, some ceramic from Anna Branner's Cloth and Clay. Here's the front of her card. And here's the back. She's down in Fredericksburg. So I had seen her stuff on the vendor preview thread like the night before. I was like, I need some of that. That's really cute. So I got a bowl because it was cute. And it's little sheepies with different colored faces eating flowers. Like, how stinking cute is that? So there's 2 white-faced sheepies, and all the rest are the cute little black-faced sheepies. And they're just munching on flowers, and it's just white on the inside. So I have no clue what I'm going to do with this. I may use it for snacks, because I like snacks. Otherwise I bought it because it's cute, which is really the only reason. But I love it. And I also got a mug from her. I had a really hard time at first picking a mug, because she had so many that were cute. They were all sheep in little flocks, and by streams, or under trees, or munching on flowers. There was one that I almost got that were sheep and yarn, balls of yarn. But I had one in my hand that I thought I was going to get, and then I walked over and I saw this. And it was little sheep, again munching on the flowers, with some bees above. You can see the little yellow bees. And then I turned it around, and the sheepies are by the beehive. And there are more bees. And I went, sold, done. I was done. The Woolly Bee podcast has a Woolly Bee mug. I absolutely love this. I have not yet had anything to drink out of it. That will happen later. I was going to have something today for the show, but I realized that if I was going to show you, I was probably going to spill it. Let's be real. So, it's super stinking cute. All of her stuff is machine and dishwasher, or microwave and dishwasher safe, which is excellent. It's nice and hefty without being heavy. And so, just absolutely ridiculously cute. So I definitely see myself getting more from her in the future. But I can't wait to use this nice big handle. Great size. I absolutely love it. And what I love about this, I worked on, helped out on a sheep farm throughout high school and a little bit into college, and they did not have black-faced sheepies. They had, which this is what only on this mug, they had Cormo, which are white-faced, generally white-faced sheepies. But they also had some honeybee hives, and so it's kind of that reincarnated into a mug. And so it was like the most perfect thing ever. So that was that purchase. So yes, I was a bit of a GYP. We're going to leave that at that. But let's go into next week. Next week is my fall break. I cannot wait. So I'm going to be heading home on Friday, back up to Northern Virginia. Saturday morning I will be at Fiberspace for the Neighborhood Fiber Company trunk show. I'm very, very excited. I don't know how long I'll be there till. Probably not that long. Not past noon. My mom and I are planning on going in and getting lunch. Details yet to be determined. Because my dad wants to do stuff too, so we'll see. But I'm planning on being there for that. Very excited. Karita's yarns, if you've never worked with Neighborhood Fiber Company, you need to. I have a lot of her yarns. They're really beautiful. Her colors are amazing. Highly recommend it. One of my favorite dyers, for sure. And she started doing speckles. I love speckles. But so yes, next week I'm going to try to record from home. So it'll be a bit of a different location. Hopefully there will be some kitty cat cameos, though I make no promises because it all depends on their mood and how much howling we want to hear from Ben. Lily probably will not make an appearance, but we'll try. They're both very, very cute, though I may be biased. Yeah, that's all I've written for the show notes. But yeah, hopefully we'll have that for next week. A little something different, even though we're, 2 episodes into this. So that should be a lot of fun. That's what I have for next weekend and next week. Otherwise, until then, there's just going to be me and homework and maybe some crafting because I got to stay sane. Side note, I don't plan on having like what I'm watching segment except for this week. I started Stranger Things on Netflix. If you have Netflix and you have not watched it, go watch it. I do not do horror, period. Like, Casper the Ghost is probably about as scary as I can handle. This is scarier than that. It's freaking terrifying. And I questioned a lot through that first episode what I was doing with myself watching it, but I could not stop watching. So I have one more episode. I've watched all 8 episodes in the past, day and a half. Highly recommend it, especially now that Halloween is sort of drawing closer. Excellent, excellent show. So go check it out, and then when you're done watching the show, go on YouTube all of the interviews with the kids, because there's some really, really funny ones out there. The kids with Jimmy Fallon and Silly String, gold. The little girl in the show with Stephen Colbert. And then there are a couple with the kids, it's with BuzzFeed. And so one of them, the kids are decorating waffles and just like talking about who would do what, which is hilarious. And then the other one is the kids looking at, they call them like retro stuff, but toys and candies and stuff from the 70s through the 90s, which is hilarious because I actually know what pretty much all of them are. So for those of you who know about this age thing, I do know some things from back then. But it was hilarious, just totally hilarious. So I should have gone to bed last night, but instead I did that. Highly recommended. Even if you don't watch the show, the kids are hilarious. They're adorable. You want to go hug them. Highly recommend it. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching last week's episode. There were so many more views than I ever expected. I honestly expected Denise and Jillian from the shop, who I'm very close with, to watch this, and that was about it. So the fact that the rest of you did means so much to me. Hopefully you guys will continue to stick around and help us grow, and we'll see what this becomes. Hopefully I'm getting these technical details worked out as well. No promises again. But thank you again, and until then, I'll see you guys next week. I'm hoping, if you guys are interested, we'll get a RAV group set up. I'll probably give this another episode before I transition to actually getting this hosted somewhere and having a website. I don't want to jump into that, and I'm honestly too busy right now if I don't do this for more than a couple weeks. But that will hopefully be something in the future. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to send me a message on either Ravelry or Instagram. I check both of those platforms arguably too much. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have about anything. Pretty much anything. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.